I want to introduce as well Yaryna to all other people who cannot participate today. Yaryna is an amazing performance artist from the Ukraine, living in Lviv, and I'm very happy that you found the time as well. So welcome, Yaryna, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Yeah, so each time, you know, when I talk to someone from abroad, it's always kind of special, because of course me staying now in Ukraine, for you, like Ukraine, it's one unit country, and everything that happens here, it's like the same. But for us, like for me, I mean, living here on the western part of Ukraine, and of course we have the alarms too. It's I can't say that I feel safe or that I feel good here or calm. No, not at all. It's like every time you know that something can happen, like twice, sometimes once per day. During last 2 weeks we have the alarms, because before it was really more often, but each alarm, it means that a missile is going here somewhere, it's flying to us, and everyone have to go to the shelter. So it became a part of our life. And we had this meeting with Eva Maria, it was at the beginning of March, and of course it was different. I will not say that we are used to live with war now. No, it's not like that. It's like, but all the time we know now, like we know that we have to continue. We continue working where it is possible. For example, I work in an art academy here, so we continue studying. So some of the students, they are here. Some of them went home to the villages, to the smaller cities, everywhere from where they are coming. Also, some of the people are somewhere abroad in the safer places, because that's true that each one reacts in different way to this situation, and we can't imagine until we are here, until we live it, how would be our reaction. So it's that's true that it's changing all the time, because many of my friends, even those who especially those who have children, they went out from Ukraine at the beginning, and a lot of them came back, because they say, for me it's harder, it's more difficult to stay somewhere and not being here, and it's this kind of exile that's I can't. And of course that's true that for many people there are a lot of unfortunately there are a lot of people who doesn't have the place to come back, and that's true. And every day Russian troops, they still continue to bomb it, to destroy everything on the east, near the eastern border, on the south. They trying to occupy the cities, and they do it in very, very horrible way, because for them it's not the war about the ideas of the war between soldiers. It's the war with the civil people too, who really suffer a lot from that, because those who doesn't have gun, those who do not have the opportunity to defend, and these troops, they go and they do everything they want with the people, with children, and that's really hard to read and to know every day that there are some children, some babies raped by the soldiers. And okay, maybe I will not describe all these cruelties and all this violence, but this is true, that this not because sometimes we can read that many people some people from the countries where are not neighbors, let's say so, then say, oh, this is something imaginative. No, that everything is true. I also have a lot of friends who are going there as to make some reports, as for example, some photographs. Also, I have friends who are as a soldiers there, but also we have to understand that it's not the question for us. Why do we support so much the army, and why our soldiers and our army became so important here? Because it's not only the military guys who are there. Of course, there is a percent of them, but a lot of those people who are defending Ukraine and who became soldiers during the last 3 months, they are very, very simple guys and girls, and just people with different backgrounds, poets, artists, teachers, historians, and that's difficult to understand. That all of them, those who really love the country where we live, who did so much during the last years to support it, to develop it, just believing that we can have what we want, not just waiting to something somewhere, but to do it here. And that's true, that's difficult to create this paradise for you here where you are, but all of us, we were working on it, and suddenly one day there is someone, I mean Russia, who just came to destroy everything. And at the end, what we see now, it's not the question of this false statements that was what they began, that there are some Nazis here, or that they have to help the Russians who suffer in Ukraine. Everything was false. That was just the reason for them, for their people to explain why that government, why do they decided to what did they decide to enter to other country, to Ukraine. And what we can observe during the last months, that the main mission for them is just kill Ukrainians, because we have our ideas, we have our identity, we have our nationality, and the comprehension of the country as it is, what we want. We are seeing our future in a country with the supporting human rights. Also, that's the main point. And what we can see, that it doesn't exist in Russia, and they just trying to spread that chaos around. But even in this terrible situation, but anyhow, we are trying, I mean all the country, all the people here, we are really trying a lot to keep this unity, and not to even, of course, there are more than 40 million people, so we have different opinions, we make different decisions, that's normal. But anyhow, we are trying to live with this feeling of unity, to support each other. And we understand that the only way we have, it's the victory of Ukraine and nothing else. And no other ways are possible for us, because if not, it means just disaster, and it means that the life will not go on if that direction could be different. So we even don't think about something else. That's only our way to the victory. But of course, at the beginning, it seemed to us to be like a war of few weeks, then maybe 1-2 months, and now we understand that it will durate. And what's important for us to feel also the support of the whole world, because it's not just a question of support of Ukraine, but support the humanity, support the idea of creating something good and creating to have the respect to the human. So for us now, that's the point that keeps us alive, that keeps us with some expectations on futures, some wishes. And of course, sometimes when we read some news that Europe, for example, is already tired of this war, and maybe someone is tired of talking about that too much, because of course it's difficult for everyone. For us, it's from one side. For you, it's from other side. For people, I don't know, in Philippines or Myanmar, in Asia, in US, it would be in other way. But anyhow, it influences a lot, because even if we will close eyes and say that I will not read it, I don't want to know about it, but we will feel it, because Ukraine gave a lot of food also in different countries. And now when Russian troops they just take out the wheat, for example, they just take it. They like sieves, they take it and they sell it to other countries. And we are thinking about our history, that it happened so many times in Ukraine, that Russians just created artificially the hunger, because it happened, for example, for my grandmother in 33, in the years 1930 to 33, when the big fame was here, that people didn't have what to eat, but it was just artificial. It was not the problem of the nature, that just the government decided to take it from the people, and just observing people dying because they could not eat. And we have millions of children and people who died during that years. And like now, it's not the main question, the food, but it also appears, and we don't know what will happen. For example, a few weeks ago, one of the plants that produce salt, it was destroyed. And even this little point, but it occurred a problem of the lack of salt here. And now, of course, we can live without salt for a while, but anyhow, every day we have these distractions. Every day we have our small victories, and we are very happy when we have the news that our troops, our soldiers, they took back a part of the territory. But it's changing all the time. And if we will, like today, we have 100 days of this war. And if we will look into the map, we will see how this border on the east, on the south, is moving every day, all the time. It became so flexible. And how we just observe how the cities are disappearing, how I mean the Russians, how they destroy it in such a silly way with no reason, just to destroy. That's the only aim, to destroy and to give the pain to the civil people, to kill these people, and to create them a lack of houses, of relatives, of happiness. So that's what's really not easy. But anyhow, here in Western Ukraine, and for example, was a few friends, we had the ideas to work with adults, with teenagers, and now we decided to anyhow to renew this project, and we will work with performance during this month, and working with the teenagers who came here from other cities, and also inviting the teenagers from here, the locals, and to make a collaboration and create for them a kind of platform to express themselves. Because we had with a few friends, the cultural workers, we had this idea before the war, because when you are 15 or 16, 17 years old, it's the period of doubts, and you have a time to also to make some decisions, but you are not 18, for example, when you can vote, or when your position could be more visible. So we decided to at least to work with them, to help them in this way, and to create for them a kind of platform to express themselves, and that would be our pilot project, and we hope that it will go good, so we could spread it and make it longer, maybe to repeat it during the year, and also to spread it in different cities here and maybe even abroad, doing some collaborations with other artistic organizations. And because also a lot of Ukrainians and Ukrainian teenagers, they are now abroad, so we decided that that could be a good experience for them too in the future to have this like our mission is to create kind of methodology how to work with this special experience and how to transform it and to talk about it in an artistic way. Yeah, so anyhow, we have June for this work, and we will see what results we will have, and then I think after that we will work on some text too, and we will spread it and to share.
Yeah, thank you a lot, Yaryna. It's a very intense news list you gave us as well. It's not easy to digest as well. But it's always, I think, for me, it's the best way as well to get the information, you know, to directly talk to somebody and not to read things in news which are completely filtered in that sense.
Yes, and you know, when we are like, I had many conversations with different people from different countries, and the last time also it was with a French friends, and one of the girls, she's French, but she's now in US, and she said that was important for me to talk about was a person from Ukraine, because of course US supports us a lot, but sometimes it seems like they are supporting us just in a military way with guns and else, and many people don't support it, and they are even against it, like it's a bad way of help. But anyhow, I always, and me, and transmitting the ideas of Ukrainians that now we need it. This help is very important for us, because this is the only way how we can defend our country and how we can take our territory to Ukrainian side, how we can take it back. Because if we will think only about diplomatic way, that's good, that's important, but that would be the final point. And we have to be aware that with Russians, it doesn't work to talk. We can talk only when we have the strong military position with them, and that's the only way for diplomacy after. So now this way of defend, that's not the question with these guns and with all the military support from the world. That's not the question of attack from our side, but the main point is to defend. And that's also maybe, of course, it's not so much for in an artistic way, because for us it's more, for us the main question, it's about defense. It's not the attack, it's not to give pain to somebody, it's not attack another country, but it's to defend our country. And if we have this opportunity, then we have the opportunity to win, and the opportunity to the victory.
Yeah. So are there questions as well?
Yaryna, do the NATO, the US military, are doing something, or
no?
Okay.
No, NATO was not here. We were not in NATO, and it's completely a fiction created by Russia to make a lot of countries in the world, and to create this artificial lies. Because our idea, like for many years, I mean, as Ukrainians, as a nation, of course, we know what does it mean Russia, and our idea was that we have to be in some military alliance. We would like to be there, but NATO never gave us this opportunity. They never said us yes, and each time we had some conversations about it. So these conversations ended in a way of maybe in 10 years, but nobody told us that okay, you can join us. So no NATO, no US Army. That's completely false. Of course, now for the moment when the war started, we have the volunteers from the whole world, and there is a legion. That's true. There is a legion was different, but there are people also from France, from I've met also a Japanese guy, for example, or someone from Latin America. But these are the volunteers, and no official militarians and no soldiers from NATO countries was the mission of NATO. It's not here, no.
Yeah, thank you very much for saying situation about Ukraine. And I'm just wondering, do you have some plans to make your work or performance, and how do you think how your work will go, something like that? As an artist, I'm just wondering, how do you feel and what's your plan and something like that?
Thank you. At the beginning, it was a complete emptiness. Like when it was 1 week after the war started, that my friend she invited me to join some how it's called, some events, and also then they proposed, they are French and they live on the south, and one of them, the guy, he's dancer, and they proposed me to do kind of performance, but not with my participation, but they wanted to create it. There was involving some people, some actors, dancers, or just volunteers, and that could be a way to create a message with gesture, and to talk, or like for me to talk about, to express something. And at the beginning that sounded for me really crazy, because no, I didn't have anything in mind, something to do, to create. But after a few days, finally I decided that okay, anyhow, that's my mission, that's my possibility to tell something, to talk about it, to express it. And also, if we're talking a lot about me, how could we help? I'm telling that give the opportunity to Ukrainians to be heard and to be seen. So that was that opportunity. Finally, like 2 weeks ago in Avignon in France, they did that performance, collective performance was people that, so I created that kind of instructions, and that was completely new experience for me, because usually I use my body, I know what to expect, I know my experience, but that was also kind of I don't know, belief, maybe no, it's not the good word. Trust. Yes, that was a trust to other people. And for me, that's idea that I'm transmitting something, and this is through the bodies of other people, of other nation, that they are talking about us, about Ukraine. And it seemed to me really important. And finally, we had the meeting just before, and I had some feedback from them. And I know that for those who participated, for those also for the public, it was a special experience too. So this works. They leave some traces, and I think it's important too. And now, yes, I have some plans. I have some ideas on which I'm working on, and of course that it's everything connected to the situation where we are, because it touches a lot. It's impossible to think about something else. Of course, there are many different topics, but from one side, for example, like ecology, it's also always important. It doesn't disappear with the war. It's even stronger with the war. But like the question of life and death, for me, it's on the first point now. And like some topics and importance of that has changed a lot, at least now.
I have are there artistic movements during the war, against the war in the Ukraine, or is it a kind of silent from the artists? How is it?
I think maybe there is something that I don't know. It's possible always, but what I know that like many of my friends who are artists or people connected to art and culture, they are volunteers. And all the organizations like here in Lviv Institute of Cultural Strategy, they are working a lot on in a way of this volunteering, organizing the events, also the events, the art events or some concerts. It still exists, but usually they are aimed to collect some money, for example, to the soldiers, or to the army, to help them, to buy something for them, to support them. And also soldiers, it's one point, but also they have the families, and there are thousands of dead people, and there are thousands of wives or husbands or children, parents who suffer a lot, who have lost the members of the families. And we also have to think about it. It's kind of humanitarian aid and kind of support, because one point is emotional, but that's the reality that somehow it's not so easy just to survive. So maybe it's not called as a artistic movement against war, but like everything what's here, it's against war. And we are trying to do everything possible, each one what we can. Also, maybe I have to mention that one of the points is the cultural organization, which was created since the first days. They are looking for the different appearance of Ukrainian and Russians together, because there are a lot of organizations around the world, maybe not so much now, but before in March, that was terrible. And yes, also we were talking about it with Eva Maria, that a lot of organizations tried to make a contact to put together Ukrainian and Russian artists. Sorry, but it's not possible. It's not the way to think about it now and to talk about it. We are not in the same conditions. We are not in the same situation. And also what really aches us a lot when now we can see this Russian dissidents and poor Russian artists who have to escape the war or something else. Sorry, but they don't have this war in the countries, and they were in silence so many years, and everything was good for them. Only now, when they have the sanctions, a lot of opportunities for them have closed, have stopped to be represented easily in the world, and suddenly they started to talk about some problems. But for them, it's not the problem of dying, of losing someone. Of actually, it's just a different level of a problem, and it's what we are struggling for. That we are asking, please don't put us at the same level. Stop talking about our brotherhood, because it does not exist, and it was also artificial. As this crazy ideas was NATO, for example. It was just historical lie that Russia was spreading during the decades, during the years. And also what we can say, and what's good now, that the whole world has the opportunity to see what is the real face of Russian Empire and what are their real ideas. And also those of them, also artists and cultural workers who, I mean Russians, who say that they are against Putin. Yes, they are, but it doesn't mean that they are against Russian imperialism, that they don't support this idea of being better or higher than someone else. And Ukraine for them never existed as a independent country, as a full country. But that's true that, okay, it's another topic, I'll just finish it, that the Ukrainian history has the raisins, the basis at least what we have for sure from the 988. And that was but also there existed on this territory, our territory existed many people, and it was already a country. And Russia and Moscow, nothing was there. And they say that they were before us. So it's a complete lie, and they are just trying to rewrite the truth and rewrite the history, and that was their main idea for years, what they were doing. But we hope that now it would be obvious for everyone what does it mean, the real face of Russia, and that we hope that it will change.
We heard a lot of interviews with people from the Ukraine, also from the east part of Ukraine in the media, but it's different to talk to artists, because we are doing the same thing around the world, and we have this art community, and to talk with artists from the Ukraine, to be connected with the way of thinking and feeling, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah. That's true, and that's true that a lot of artists are here because, or even some of them are going somewhere, like for some event, and they go back because it's like, it's kind of feeling that you have to stay here. You are needed here too. But I mean, it's different for everyone. There are also some people who went because I have a friend whose house was destroyed, or this Russian troops the soldiers entered into her house, and what did they leave there? It's it's really terrible. Even, you know, even it's like somebody just touched your body when you didn't allow it, and it's the same with the house, and it's so painful. Also, some artists with children who they are somewhere abroad almost from the first days. But anyhow, each one has its own mission, and we are trying to also to do, not just to observe and not to be silent.
Yeah. You provided us with such an important message as well. I think this is, for me, it's quite intense also to digest in that sense, you know. So thank you very much that you took the time as well to tell us, and that we are able to think further and to think more about how to combine our interest in the sense of communication
and also just to think about, but we could do some links with some even art organizations here, and maybe to organize some connections, some online platforms from time to time here.
Yeah,
no, just to think about. So there are many possibilities. So then, yeah, and thank you very much, and I'm happy to meet also new people for me here from different parts of the world. And I know, like this sometimes this pain comes to each of us, but anyhow it's trying to divide, but it unites, and that's what we have to keep, feeling of being united.
It's really nice to listen or heard from people, artists from Ukraine. I remember in the Philippines when there is also war in the south part of the Philippines. Many indigenous people are being killed, but the only thing to understand them is to go with them. So many people or artists are going to the south to learn from the community. So maybe this is the best way to communicate. I hope we have frequent conversation and updates. It's really nice to hear from you, Yaryna. Thank you for the stories and the presence.
Thank you. Thank you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We have to just remember that Russian propaganda is not dead. They are working hard so much, and they are spreading this false information and sometimes strange information, and they invent a lot. And that what is said, that many of their people who live in Russia, they believe in it. They believe in these stories about Nazis, about crazy Ukrainians who are killing, I don't know, Russian babies or Russian-speaking people. But that's false. That's completely a lie. And the same thing with NATO. With NATO as a danger for Russia, but NATO was never here in Ukraine, and it really did not happen. So that was just the point for them to enter here, and because that was the plan. Of course, now we are talking a lot about the 3 last months, but it's important to mention that we held this war during 8 years. But it was more local. It was on the eastern part of Ukraine, but so many people, so many young people died for that too here, so many soldiers. But also the soldiers were not military guys, professionals. They were simple people just defending the territory. And now that became the full scale, and that's why the Russians are inventing these stories to support this idea. Why are they here? But that's true that there is no reason for them.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
For
thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Thanks to everyone to being here, and yeah, happy to spend this moment with you. Thank you.
we stay together.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Mary. Mhm.
Bye bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.